Hi again, everybody. This is Captain B-Rye. I have made some progress on the OmniBlade game, a very small amount of progress. Didn't get as much progress as I wanted because I got, not surprisingly, sucked down into engine work. And the main things I covered in engine work was I got screen transitions working where in a video game you don't want a screen you don't want to pop from one screen to another. I have it so screens fade in and fade out when they're transitioning. So that's what the screen transition stuff is all about. I also implemented a splash screen, which is, again, I consider it engine work because it's pretty reusable stuff. And there's just a bunch of little other things that had to get done that are so boring I won't even go into it. But that's where I spent my time on a lot of stuff. Hopefully hopefully I'll be mostly done with that stuff. But that's what I said last time. So let me show you a little bit of the screen transition inside of the editor. Start that guy up. And you can tell now the editor just kind of fades from black to blue, where blue is the sort of the default clear screen color. So that's why it becomes blue. I also now have this new tool. Oh, here's a nice thing. A tool called Quick Size, whereas when you build an entity, and if the entity's default size is always going to be 64 by 64, but often that's not actually the size of the sprite that you want it to display, so you just press the Quick Size button with the entity selected, and it will automatically query the size of the sprite and then adjust the entity site accordingly. So it's pretty handy. If you could do much, I don't think I did much else in the editor. Yeah, not really anything else. So let's take a look. Let's start by looking at the title screen. I have a title screen inside of the OmniBlade now. I have a splash screen and I have a title screen. That's all I've got. Sad to say. So let's find that. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up the title screen in the editor. I just built it in the editor. My God, is it hideous! But I haven't gotten my art yet, and we'll talk about art later because there's some really cool stuff happening on that front. I want to show you guys the awesomeness that is going on. It blows me away what this guy can do. Now here's my programmer art title screen. Again, I don't have UI for the buttons. So, I'm going to do something. I'm going to try something right here. I'm going to go ahead and go into interact mode for the screen. And then this right here, this bottom button, this is the exit button. So when I click it, it should exit. Oh, no, it won't exit because it doesn't have the subscription set up yet. And it won't set up the subscription unless it's in the actual game mode. So yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the editor and run the game as it is. So you'll see the fade in the splash screen. Right now I just have the name of the engine, new. And then it goes to this title screen here. And now you can see that this is the title screen I created in the editor. And now when I push the exit button, it will actually exit the application because the event subscription was actually hooked up in that case. I almost think that it should be hooked up in the editor, but maybe that's an oversight on my part, either in terms of implementation or my understanding of how my own code works. It could go either way. So that is what we have. That's what the game has. And you've seen all the stuff the editor can do. It's moderately interesting. But again, you gotta get the engine and editor stuff out of the way. And it can suck you back in at times when you realize that it's not quite as implemented as you think it is when you're actually developing the game. So what we see here in terms of code is this is the OmniBlade game module. here are just some addresses of various things. The splash screen has an address. The title screen has an address. All of these addresses, they just allow me to access these various simulants that were built in the editor while the game is running. That's sort of a connection between what I built in the editor and what the game can work with at runtime. That's what addresses are all about. It's super nice, works really well. And really not much to say in terms of code. We just, I guess we'd start here. Frankly, I think this code kind of speaks for itself, but I'll just explain it real quick. We try to create the empty world, which may fail because the asset graph has to be loaded, and if the asset graph isn't there, it will fail, in which case you'll have to propagate that failure with the left match. If it doesn't fail, which it probably shouldn't, unless your assets are messed up for some reason, it'll get the it'll give us the actual world that was created inside the right. And all we do here is we create a splash screen sprite, and this is image 5, which is that big new splash screen insignia that we saw. And then we call add splash screen with the various parameters. And we pass a function. Add splash screen takes a function. You can tell it. I guess you can't see my hints, unfortunately. Let's take a look. This handle finished outgoing is a callback for when the splash screen is finished. Its outgoing transition where it fades back out. And in the game, I just specify I'm going to pass it a function that handles changing the current screen, and it'll take a parameter specifying the current screen that will be changed to, or the selected screen that it will get changed to will be the title screen. So pretty straightforward. And then after I add the splash screen, I'll go ahead and create the title screen. And I have a function up here to do that. And the title screen, basically, I created this function called make dissolve screen. So there's a couple functions. There's like make screen, make dissolve screen. Make dissolve screen is like make screen, but it just has dissolve transitions on it. Fade in and out. That nice appearance. And the first parameter is time it takes to fade in, and the second parameter is time it takes to fade out. I found that fade out times should probably be about half of fade in times. It visually works in other games I've done. So, something like that. These are just numbers out of my ass for the most part, though. Then we load the group model from the file called title.newgroup, which is the document I showed you in the editor, the screen I showed you in the editor. Let's see here, what else we got. And then we just add that screen model, specifying its children in here. This is kind of a special way this describes how the children of the screen are going to be added to the game as well. And then finally, I set up the subscription for when you click the exit button. Yeah, so this is why it didn't get an exit in the editor, is because the editor doesn't run the OmniBlade game. It just loads up a group, the same group that happens to be loaded by the OmniBlade game. So we just wire up that particular callback, and all it does is it handles the exit button message. And here the second parameter, or the second item in the triple, specifies whether or not the game is over, or whether or not the application should be exited. So, it specifies whether or not the application should keep going. So in this case, when I pass it false, it says the application should be exited. And, whoops. It looks like I got a little bit of inconsistency in my naming here. There we go. A lot of primes in F#, but I can't find a better way to name stuff for the most part. Alright, so that's really all it does. Deeper investigation into the code is probably warranted if you're curious. I'm available for questions. If you need any explanation on stuff, anything particular explanation, I could spend hours and hours explaining how everything works in detail, but I think it would be better for my explanations to be more targeted to what people actually want to know about. So please leave a comment or send an email. All the information about that is down at the bottom of the screen. Next time I will have more screens set up. And I'll have more screens set up. And I might even have a guy walking around on one of the maps with the physics enabled as sort of like the first step of building a role-playing game. So that's where things will get a little more interesting. Okay, everybody. Remember to send your questions. All the information is at the bottom of the screen. Take care.